Hello ladies and gentlemen, yes, Zeke here again today to bring you a quick painting video. I know I'm putting eugenics on the back burner for a second, but I felt like painting today. So today I am going to be looking at this Shadowseer. My camera should autofocus. I should probably also bring my camera up so that I can actually give its controls. So I'm just going to be painting this up, and as usual I'm going to start with a pre-glaze. I'm going to be using my own paint scheme, not going with the checkered boards, because I am not good enough to do the checkered boards and I don't want to. So I'm just going to dip my brush here. This is a big brush that I use only for this purpose, in some mineral spirits. And I'm going to make a very loose black wash here, and I'm going to cover the entire model in that loose black wash. This step is called a pre-glaze and gives you something to kind of blend the rest of the colors into as you paint. Here, let me actually open up my camera and zoom in a little bit here. For anyone interested, I am recording this on a Pixel 9. So this is, you can get pretty decent quality out of the Pixel 9 for film recording. So I figured I might as well. I'm using a free program called SCRCPY, as in short for screen copy, in order to actually get the software working. There's some red in my black here, which is why I initially didn't want to go directly into the black and moved it over to a different place. Yeah. SCRCPY. It's very simple to use, although you do need to use a command prompt to use it the first time, but there's very clear instructions on how to do that on the GitHub page, so no real problem. Again, covering this whole thing, trying to be a bit delicate because this model itself is a bit delicate. It is hanging on by 1 foot. There we go. As you can see, we've lost a lot of the definition on it, but that is alright. That'll come back in the next step, where we take all of this off immediately. Interesting couple of steps, but really not sure how I'm going to do the backpack on this thing. I don't have any ideas at present. It might all just be... my color scheme is this turquoise up here. Oh, you can't see it right now. This kind of green blue up here, and red split down the middle and alternating. And yeah, well, that's it. That's the whole scheme. And reflective metal as the other thing. So there we go. Got the whole thing sorted out here. You can see how nice and black and glossy it looks. Gonna clean off my brush now, put the model down. So to clean an oil brush, all you do, and let me zoom out again actually. There we go. You dip in oil or you wash in mineral spirits a tiny bit, but mineral spirits are known for rooting brushes, so then you dip in oil and then go again. And then if you want to preserve your brush for later, it is a good idea to make an oil dip. This is made of 98% safflower oil and 2% clove oil, so it stays wet a very long time. And before I'm done with my brushes, I dip them in there. And now this brush will stay nice and damp for quite a long time. Excellent. Put my oil dip back and then move on to this thing. This is a makeup sponge. I'm going to use that in order to clean up everything that I just put down. Ideally you kind of want to let it rest for a tiny bit, but I'm not running an ideal world here. I'm recording at the moment, so I'm going to just clean it up immediately. This is another reason that often in oil it's good to work on several things at once, just so you can kind of alternate and spend the time where it's needed. Let me get a bit of a bigger piece than that. So ripped up the sponge, and now you can see I'm just picking up everything that I can reach on a surface level. You'll still end up with quite a bit of black on there. Just rotate the sponge around and keep sponging off as much as you possibly can. All you really want is a very small base layer to blend into. You can see I'm kind of getting back some of the detail on the camera now. Move my mouse off screen in case that's recording. Probably is. I don't think I set it not to record the mouse, which is an option. I just didn't do it. Okay. could have maybe used a actual makeup sponge for this. This is going to end up being a darker piece than usual just because I'm a bit nervous cleaning it up. So this gives you a bit of a pre-shading and allows you to kind of like work from the surfaces that are clean down into the surfaces that are dirty. And when you work into the surfaces that are dirty, it'll give the model natural shading. Just got to get into here and into here. So I need a smaller piece for that. Okay. There we go. Now to pick up my main brush. Where did I put my main brush? Here it is. I tend to mostly use one brush for everything. This is a sable. I try to take fairly good care of it. You always use the oil dip, never, or at least get it up into the ferrule as seldom as possible. But let's start out with the red. And this red is still wet. It's from the other day. I am using a cadmium red, which is a tiny bit dangerous, but there are plenty of other less dangerous reds, or just cadmium hue red. I'm dipping into mineral spirits there, and then I'm actually going to dip into a fast drying medium that I have. There's plenty of them. They're called alkyl mediums. They do create a bit of a gloss, but I'm going to matte varnish this anyways. So then let's start out by making this side here red up at the top. There we go. And you can see already going on really nicely there. Already getting some natural shading because of the pre-glaze that I put on. I want a very thin, accurate line along the top here. So I'm going to go ahead and use my paint handle here. This is a custom paint handle. I made it myself to try to help me with shakes. If anybody wants it, please just message me and I will send it your way. Basically, you use this as a brace in order to get into very hard to reach areas. There we go, already got that half done. And then on her coat, so that means I'm going to actually alternate and make this red down here, this little string she got. I wish I could turn down the clarity on this, just so that you guys could see through the shine a little bit. Because one thing with oil paint is that it is quite shiny. I will try to use a picture of this model finished as a title card once it actually dries, which is going to take like a day and a half. So at first going to be a picture of the model as finished as it gets, and then later it's going to be a picture of the model finished. So going along the inside there, it's nice. It's very much darkening up my brush here. You can see the brown on the brush, but you kind of want brown on the inside here where there's going to be shadow. But then wash your brush off, refresh it with some actual red, try to mix a bit more of that red in there, and then redden up the outside area where there wouldn't be as many shadows. There we go. And a tiny bit more red on the inside as well. Okay. Now, let's grab the edge of this to get it. Make sure that it's all painted. Unpainted areas don't look too bad when you prime in black or have a pre-glaze on like this, but you kind of want to paint everything a bit. So how are we looking now? Got red on half the hat. Got red on the other half of the string down there. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with her pants. Usually I just kind of do black bodysuit for the pants. The hardest part is going to be this middle thing here, which I think I'm going to do in a cream color just to kind of contrast the nice bright colors that are elsewhere here. And also let's get inside her hat because somebody is going to be crazy and look in there at some point. There we go. Oh, sorry, it is auto-focusing on the wrong thing there. Okay. Now let's wash the brush off. Just circle it a few times on there, wash it in the mineral spirits, dip it in the oil, brush it around in circles, fairly roughly until it's all gone. Dip into the quick dry medium, and then there's still a bit of red on the brush, but it doesn't really matter. Mixed in nice and green. So now I'm going to start on the other half here in this nice bright green. I'm going to start out with as bright as possible, so add a fair layer there and don't blend into the dark corners quite yet. There we go. See, that's kind of turning gray in there. When you see gray, it is often a darkened green or blue. They tend to make the best grays, although you can make a chromatic gray of almost any color. I'm not the best person to describe how to do that, so maybe look that up online if you're looking to get a more intriguing gray in your painting. There we go. Got that blue coming along nicely, or that blue-green. Not really a blue. And now let's wash it off my brush and get some nice fresh paint here to get on the hat, where it's going to be a nice bright highlight color. So again, using my paint handle here in order to brace my hands so I can get a nice even straight line. Sometimes you can just put down a bunch of paint at once and then push it around, and that is a perfectly valid way of painting as well. Putting a bit of excess on and then pushing it to where it needs to be and blending it in. Okay, there we go. Got the hat. Now I just need the inside of the hat. Okay. There we go, got the initial colors down nice and fast here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate the legs with the hat in terms of color. So the left one here is going to be that nice bright blue, and then the right one is going to be the nice bright red. And I'll have her main bodysuit be black as planned before. After I'm done this leg, I'll bring it up to the camera and give you guys a nice view of where we're at so far. Just kind of like continuing to stroke out all the paintbrush marks. Best way to do that is to just continue to paint until the marks are gone. Just keep spreading it around. And then grab her shoe. A bit brighter on the shoe. Make sure you're always adding medium if your paint isn't flowing off the brush as much as it should, and remember that the brush should be, or the paint should be in the brush flowing out, not on the brush flowing on. This is true for both acrylics and oils. For anyone who didn't know or who hasn't watched my previous video, I am of course painting in oil paints, which is a bit of a different process, but is a lot of fun and can get results down quite fast. Okay, have to try to get her actual shirt here, which is going to be a bit difficult because I didn't really get in there with the sponge. Okay, got that easily enough. Okay, let's take a look at it so far. Not looking bad. I probably should have brought up a reference for this thing because I don't know what I'm going to do for this staff other than just make it nice and silvery. Gonna need to get into the back of the armor a little bit here, but it can be quite dark, so that is alright. Blend some of that gray down into the rest of the strip. And then I think I'm going back to red to do the other leg for a bit. But before I do that, I'm actually going to gum in with a clean brush and take away some of this pre-glaze. There we go. And then dip once again in there and grab some of this red. This red can overpower anything. Cadmium is kind of dangerous. As long as you don't consume it, it is fairly safe. You're not huffing it or consuming it in any way. You should be fine. It is a red so strong it can overpower black sometimes. Okay, so now I can get her leg with that red. Should have maybe reversed this so that they were more the legs are more distinct against these bottom segments. But that is a lesson for later. Accidentally got some paint on the back over the middle thing. There we go. That was me holding the paintbrush in my mouth, if you guys are wondering why I sounded so weird there all of a sudden. There we go. Some red on the back for leg, and now I have a very nicely split two-tone Pantone. I'm still on red, so I'm gonna do the sleeves on red in this side. Sleeves and gloves, I mean. This is just a royalty-free radio station I found. I'm at least hoping it's royalty-free. It was claimed so online on a streamer group, so... But I couldn't find anything at a quick glance on the site itself. So maybe this will be DMCA'd to hell, but that's alright. I'm not in it to make money anyways. Grab some reds there. Managing to stick and frame this time pretty nicely, which is good. Okay, so now I pretty much only have one sleeve and the weapons left. Actually, that's red there. You know what? I'm actually going to clean up a bit of this here and do the sleeves in red and the, or the gloves in red and the sleeves in green. There we go. There we go. Got the green down now on the sleeve. And then on the other side, I can do the opposite. I can do the sleeves in red and the glove in green. So back to that red. You can see how quickly you can change colors in oil. Just mix the previous color into it almost, and it will make for a more cohesive scheme overall. I am not a very accurate painter. I am just a fast painter. I paint effectively and quickly. Or at least some people say I paint effectively. Some people would disagree with that pretty harshly. There we go. Let's get a bit more brightness into that red there. There we go. She has shoulder pads too. Those will have to be in that bright metallic that I'm going to do later. Again, her bodysuit, I'm just going to keep black. But I do see a little bit of extra red down here that I need to just kind of like clean up with some mineral spirits. Again, just put, if you need to erase in oil, just put mineral spirits down and then go in with a sponge. And I do notice that I need a tiny bit more green along the side of this. There we go. So then I need the green for her glove. Almost forgot about that. So go in with some straight green and get that glove going. It looks like I erased barely any of the dark tone on this glove, but that's alright. That'll make for very nice finger grooves, and I can always go over again and fix it later. The great thing about oil paints is that they are erasable to a degree at least. There you go. Spread those paints out so that they're not all gloopy. Okay, and you know what? I can actually keep the dual color thing going on for the weapons. The handle of the weapon, if not the main housing of the weapon, can be green. There we go. And then the handle of the staff can be a nice reddish brown. Again, just really doubling down on this two-tone look here. Notice again, I'm using the paint handle in order to stabilize. And then getting the back real quick. That is going to be a place that can be photographed. Okay. Now I just need some cream. Do I have the ingredients to make cream here? Okay, I have some red and I have some black, so that'll make me a nice brown. Mix that brown right there. And then let's add some of this white to the brown. That is a bit too brown still, so add a little bit more white. And some blue, because why not? There we go, this has a nice cream tone to it now. So add some medium to that so that it flows off the brush. And then start a painting. Oh, the times they are a painting. Okay, getting a lot of black on this, so it's turning into like a blackish cream, which is not a bad thing. It's just a happy little accident, let's call it, to reference everybody's favorite painter. Not to mention, with the darkness of the rest of the model, it's actually coming out quite nicely. Then I want to grab the same color and throw it on the masks that she has on her belt. Okay. There we go. And then I think I want to actually get her backpack the same kind of darkish cream color, instead of the reflective metallic that I'm planning on using a bit later. When I close my eyes, I remember your face. I wonder where some of this royalty-free music came from. There should just be royalty-free radio that plays like old jazz, shouldn't there? I'd be up for that. If somebody knows a royalty-free radio station that just plays old jazz, let me know, because I am in search of royalty-free music to play while I paint. Okay, go get a bit more of that on there so I can get a nice thick coat of it up there. And then using my there we go. There we go. Got a nice coat of color on on this thing. Gonna spread it around a bit more, just so that it is a nicer and more even coat. And I'm gonna do that on all the other parts that I put this cream on. Ooh, got some red on the cream there. Don't worry about it, just blend it in, and we will call it a reflection. Okay, now time for the reflective bit. So I have a plan here. I have this nice turquoise on the palette right now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of that white and blue, and this metal that I have up here is a very nice metal, but it's less of a metal and more of a metallic medium. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a very small amount of this light blue to it to try to get like a whitish reflective metal. There we go. Nice creamy white there. Whitish blue, I should say. And now I'm going to very carefully paint this on all the little jewels. And onto some of her jewelry. Got a little bit of something on my brush there. Grab a bit more of it here because I'm darkening down. And put it down here. Also try to get some of the jewels that are on the things, just so I get a bit more of this reflective white wherever I want it. There we go, a bit more right there. And on the jewelry, and we keep going. We apply the entire tip of the gun, I think, should be this. And then let's throw some of the metallic stuff just on here. It'll mix in with the color that's already there, but I'm not quite liking this beige. So let's try to give it a metallic sheen here. Okay, and then add a tiny bit of black over here to the same metal to get a steel color. Very, very useful paint. It's from Kama Paints, and it is their silver. And that can just kind of go on everything that isn't any of the initial two colors. And the shoulder pads. Okay. Okay, let's take a look real quick. You'll have to trust me that this will look better once varnished, but I will take some pictures and they will be the title card. This is my... Oh, you know what? I completely forgot to do the back of this thing. And you know what else I forgot? I forgot to grab some gray. Ciao. Ooh, I'm getting some anti-fascist techno here. Bella Ciao, by the way, is an anti-fascist song, and this is a weird techno version of it. Oh, that was gray. I don't need any metallic in that. I just need some gray in order to lighten up some of the stone. There we go. And that should be enough for the stone. Okay, look, check it out. I am done. I will take some pictures so you guys can see a bit better in the title card. But you could also check out my Instagram at YesXZeke, I'm pretty sure. And I hope you enjoyed this little painting session. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. I still have to end it. Oh no.